خالفتم أقوال الشيوخ فأنتم.
Before we get started, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by the Kalam app, an app that allows you to learn Quranic Arabic so you could finally understand what you're reciting in prayer, but there'll be more on that later. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good. You said Assalamu alaikum. You're Muslim or a Christian?
I'm a Christian.
Okay, wa alaikum assalam. How can I help you?
I was a born Muslim. I'm a Turkish Cypriot from birth. You know.
You were born Muslim?
Well, my family are Muslims. I mean.
Were you ever Muslim?
Yes, I believe so, my brother.
Okay, I take back my salam. All right, how can I help you today?
Okay.
Yeah.
My brother, like, basically, I've been I've since 5 years old, I've always believed in the one God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one of those old-fashioned grandmothers that always taught you about the prophets and this and that. And my family have never been very strict Muslims. Other family members, yes. But the prayers wise, and yes, my brother, you were going to say something.
No, keep going.
Okay.
So
So basically, I've throughout my life, I'm 46 years old now, but I've always seeked God for wisdom, and I've been pursuing my faith since I was 5. Like I said, learned all about the prophets, and I've had a lot of experiences throughout my life and throughout my journey on seeking the truth, but always believe in the one God with my whole heart, and I went through a phase in reading the Quran, and then I even went through a phase of praying 5 times a day. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was at the most peaceful stage of my life, and unfortunate for me, I had the wrong partner at one stage after I divorced with my ex-wife, and after she left me. But I was with my ex-fiance, and I went through a phase where I was praying 5 times a day and this and that and everything else, and I was with the wrong person, and I realized I was with the wrong person because she was mocking me, she was making fun of my beliefs, she was making fun of me praying, this, that, and everything else. And then I read the story of Abraham when he comes to Ishmael's door, and his wife answers the door, And the whole gist of the story was that that he's with the wrong partner, and that he should change his wife, about changing the doormat at the front door. I don't know, the story?
yes.
100%, yeah. So after reading that story, I looked up into the air, and I said, Allah, forgive me, because I'm with the wrong partner, and I feel like I need to fix this part of my life, and I need to, well, it's no excuse, but I need to take a break from prayer and this and that and everything. But like I said to you, I was at the most...
Sorry, you said you need to take a break from prayer?
No, as in not take a break from prayer, but just fix this part of my life before I pursue my belief and everything properly. So in between this time, I'm not going to lie to you, I was attacked by many jinns, and I always said the prayer, like you say, when you say Ashhadu an la, when you say the prayer and everything like that, and they all ran away, they ran out of windows. If they were throwing me around the rooms in my dreams, they let go and they ran off. I'm not going to lie, without a doubt, but yeah, like I said, I was at a peaceful stage in my life, and then I went through this phase. And then I went through a phase of becoming a broker. So I'm one of the top brokers in the country at the moment in the UK, yeah. And I went through a stage, and I started going into churches, wanting to know who Jesus really was. So I was asking. Obviously, we as Muslims, you believe that Jesus is a prophet. At most, when you hear all these other stories, you might think that he might be the Son of God, because you see all the stories, you read all the stories, you read the Bible as well, and everything else. So 2 years ago, I was asking Jesus directly, who are you, Jesus? Are you a prophet, or are you the Son of God? Who are you? And I was getting answers. Now, my brother, I don't know how to explain that to you. I'm going to cut the long story short here, but 8 months ago, I nearly passed away. I was cycling to the gym like you normally do. And I was coming out of the gym at about 10 o'clock in the evening, cycling back home. I went to turn right. I skid off my bike. And while I was skidding off my bike out the entrance of my gym, I tore my foot clean off my ankle. Yeah? So now I'm in a situation now. I'm on the floor. My foot's torn off, completely off my ankle. It's hanging at my knee. I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I'm calling up to God in the sky and everything like that. And I'm praying and this and that and everything else. Yeah. While I'm lying there on the floor, I'm thinking, that's it. My life's over. I'm bleeding out. The ambulance don't arrive till 1 hour later. So I'm suffering the whole time on the floor. I've got all my gym friends around me, about 20 of them, keeping me motivated, this, that, and everything else. By the time they get me to King's Hospital, it's been an hour and a half since I've been lying on the floor before they actually take me away from the floor. Now we go they take me to King's, which is the furthest away hospital, which is another 45-minute journey. Now, when I'm lying there, brother, I've got my friends and stuff in the hospital and they're holding my hands. And I come out of my body, my brother. I come out of my body and I start rising into the sky. And while I'm rising into the sky, I'm looking back at Earth and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm dying here. Yeah, sorry, I'm being unalived here. So I'm going higher and higher and higher and higher. And cutting the long story short, I went through many beauties. I went through 7 dimensions. And every dimension, my brother, had a journey of its own. Now, the things I saw from the first dimension to the 7th dimension, yeah, my humanly tongue cannot explain to you the beauty and the love and the timelessness of everything. When I finally arrived at the top, my brother, yeah, I was in the presence of Jesus. And I could see in front of me at the gates of heaven, they weren't gates, they were just glass doors, blotched out with clouds. But the only thing I was allowed to see at the top there was the throne. The throne was hovering in front of me. Mm-hmm. Now, Jesus was on my left-hand side, which would have been the throne's right. And he said to me, this is after all the miracles I experienced on the journey up, yeah? And everything else. Now, Jesus said to me, this is who you all are. You're all this combined abundance of love. You're all one, he goes to me. He goes to me, this is home. This is where you're all coming. He said to me, it was my heart that got me there. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Now, you can only imagine what I'm seeing. I'm not allowed to look at his face. His face is too bright, too glorifying, too full of love. Now, I've got a 6-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old boy that I love unconditionally. But, brother, the love I was feeling up there, I wasn't even allowed to bring to my mind my daughter, my son, or even anything of the earth. Earth had disappeared like it was a dream. It was non-existent. Yeah? Now, I knew I was home. And he was making me believe that when I go past those doors, there's no return. Now, I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. So I had something on my heart and I wanted to tell him, but I didn't tell him. And he told me, what's on thy heart? Tell me what's on thy heart. And I said, Jesus, let me go back. Let me go back and tell all the people what I've experienced here. Let me go and tell all the people, what you're showing me here. Let me go and find all the people that were lost and tell them the truth. Because I never knew the truth, my brother. Because, obviously, God never directly spoke to me. I just went through having loads of Muslim brothers and loads of Christian brothers. And I went through pursuing my faith my whole life. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. The Christian and Muslim brothers that I had, I didn't find them a good example for me to start going with them to prayer. So maybe I met the wrong people, because they would be like saying this and that about their faith and this and that. But then they would be contradicting themselves by doing bad things. So I don't know what to do with all this, my brother, because when I was looking at the throne, I was trying to look onto the throne to see if anyone else was sitting on the throne, for the simple fact that Jesus was in front of me on my left. So while I was trying to gaze into the throne to see if there's anyone sitting there, I got a chill through my soul of fear. Now, I don't know if that was because Jesus was already in my presence and I'm trying to look for God on the throne at the same time, So I don't know how to, and I know some Muslims I've spoken to about this would say, brother, what you were looking at was a jinn. Brother, it was not a jinn. It was far from a jinn. I've had jinns in my life. I've dated people that have had jinns on them. I've been thrown on the floor by jinns. I've seen paranormal activity. I've seen it all, my brother. Yeah, since from young till until I was about 43 years old, I saw a lot of it. Yeah, but what I saw up there in the presence of Jesus, I cannot go back on that because it's encrypted in my mind. Every detail, every decibel point of what I experienced on that glory on going up, cannot be erased. Now, most of my family knew when I was younger. I told them the story that, guys, when I was young, I knew the truth. But by the time I was able to speak as a baby, the truth was taken away from me. But the fact that I knew the truth remained within me. But I never knew what the truth was. When I had this NDE experience, this unaliving experience, yeah, when I was up there, it came onto me and it dawned on me that the truth I had this time, but I was able to bring it back, and I was made aware of that. Now, I know I'm just waffling on here, my brother, and I know that, I'm going on and on and on. I've cut a very long story here, very, very short, just to get to the point. Yeah. But how do you explain this journey and what I saw and everything else, my brother?
The same way you explain the journey that an ex-Christian has when he's near death and he has a dream and he's taken up and he sees Muhammad and he sees supernatural amazing things and he's convinced that Islam is the truth. The same way you explain that is the same way I explain your experience. So
But
it is
brother,
because
oh,
hold on. Is it really because of this that you have disbelieved in your Lord? أَكَفَرْتَ بِاللَّهِ يَا عَبْدَ اللَّهِ. You disbelieved in your Lord. You said you made a deal with God, or you said to God, sorry, God, I'm not going to pray right now. I just need to figure something out. Is that how it works?
Oh, no, sorry. Are you talking? You're asking me. Yeah, I thought you were saying something yourself. Sorry. No,
Yeah,
my brother,
the same way you explain anybody else's experience that doesn't align with your belief system is the same way I explain. So how do you explain?
My brother, when I came back down, when I asked Jesus for permission to come back, yeah, he just smiled at me, as in I couldn't see his face, but he smiled at me, and I started coming back back down the same way I went up. Yeah, when I finally got back into my body, my brother, yeah, my friends that were holding my hands, that were crying in the major trauma center, yeah, I was holding their hands while they were trying to put my foot back on. Yeah. Now, I said they were crying, so I was like, "Why are you guys crying?" Yeah. They goes, "Brother, you've been speaking to Jesus for 25 minutes with your eyes open, crying. Yeah, with this everlasting joy on your face for the last 25 minutes." And I knew I was there. I knew I was speaking to him. Yeah. And they confirmed everything. They said, "We wanted to be where you were. We watched you talk to Jesus for 25 minutes. And remember, I haven't told you all the beauties that I experienced on the way up, the journey on the way up." Yeah. Right. Now, everything that he showed me going up happened afterwards, after I got back in my body. Now, my brother, I'm walking. The surgeon said it's a miracle that I've healed. I had two surgeries.
Yeah, brother. Yes, brother. I've heard many stories exactly like that. So how do you explain?
But it wasn't a dream, my brother. It wasn't a dream.
It's not. Well, yeah, I never said it's a dream. How do you explain when Hindus have the same experience? How many of us know how to recite the Quran properly or even understand its true meaning? Well, that's exactly where the Kalam app comes into play. The Kalam app is an Arabic learning tool that teaches you how to pronounce the Arabic of the Quran and finally understand its true meaning. So whether you want to practice your tajweed or whether you finally want to connect with the words of the revealed Quran in its original Arabic tongue, Kalam is the perfect tool for you. Imagine reading the Quran this Ramadan and finally being able to understand the Quran in its pure Arabic original language without relying on a translation. Imagine standing up in prayer in Taraweeh and finally having that khushu' because you could understand the words that are being recited. There's no better time to start. Download Kalam today and experience the Quran this Ramadan like you've never experienced before. You'll find the link in the description below.
I don't really know much about the Hindu faith, to be honest, my brother.
No, but you don't need to know about.
My brother, I've never feared. Yeah,
you don't need to know about it. When Hindus have the same experience and Muslims have the same experience and maybe Mormons have the same experience, how do you explain that?
Yes.
Just tell me, how is Jesus showing up as like the monkey god, or what's going on there? How do you explain that?
My brother, I've read the Quran already, and I've been reading the Bible quite in detail. Yeah. Now, I mean, some certain things are coming out to me as well. Maybe you can answer the questions, like with regards to, you were talking about the experience with Jibril and Muhammad, may peace be upon him and his family, out of respect. Yeah. When you were saying about the story about, when Muhammad said that he was illiterate and he was asked to read or to recite. Yeah. And in the cave, obviously, yeah, and then he started reciting the Quran and everything like that, yeah. That experience there when Jibril held him and squeezed him, and he was saying that he couldn't read, and then after the third time he started reciting, yeah. Now we've also, so that part you've answered, because you pretty much, I got that knowledge from you when you were talking about it there. Yeah, I need to look deeper into the hadiths and all that other stuff to learn more about the hadiths, because I don't know much about the hadiths, even though I read the Quran. Yeah. So I was a baby to Muslim anyway, if you know what, with regards to prayer and praying 5 times a day and all that stuff, and do my, my cleansing and all that stuff back in the days. Yeah. But the other question I wanted to ask you was regards to the lineage from Muhammad, where he came from was it the bloodline of Ishmael? Now, in the Bible, it says that, Ishmael was promised to be, to be a great nation, to be blessed with 12 princes, to be given, to be blessed with a lot of stuff. But it said that his covenant would remain with Isaac. Yeah?
That's right.
Who is what? The lineage from David and Jesus and everyone else? It's like the royal covenant was never promised to Ishmael. It was promised to...
According to Jesus, the covenant shifted.
Right, I'm just asking these questions for the knowledge. I'm being educated here as well by what your belief is and what because I see a lot of the yeah.
Do you still think the covenant is with Isaac?
Maybe you can teach me otherwise, my brother.
But tell me, do you think the covenant is with the Israelites today?
Far as the research that I've done so far and the knowledge that I've gained, I believe that the covenant, I believe that God is perfect in His word, and I believe the covenant was still with Isaac.
So is it okay? How is the covenant with Isaac when the Israelites are outside of God's promises, and Gentiles have been introduced to God's promises instead? So how is it with Isaac?
Okay,
are you a child of Isaac? So how are you sharing in God's covenantal promises if you're not a child of Isaac, if you think it's still with Isaac?
But in the Bible, my brother, it says, if anyone should come to you, even us or an angel himself, and preach to you another gospel, before anatomy.
No, before.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to say
before you get to that, okay, before you get to Galatians 1:8, do you think you're an Israelite or something?
I believe I'm a creation from God. So I believe I come. Are you
an Israelite?
I haven't done that much research to know yes or no.
Lord,
but as far as I know, no.
Yes, you're not an Israelite, but yet you still share in God's covenantal promises. How are you in God's covenant if you're not an Israelite? So you must think that the covenant switched. And that's exactly what Jesus says in Matthew 21 and 22. And that's what John the Baptist warns the Jews of. He says, do not say we are children of Abraham, for God can raise up other children of Abraham from these very stones. Jesus also says, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to a people that will produce its fruit. The book of Genesis says, I will make you jealous by a people who is not a people, just like you made me jealous by worshiping other gods. So then there's a covenantal switch when the Israelites fail to keep the covenant. The covenant given to God is two-sided. I'll be your God and you'll be my people. They didn't fulfill their end of the bargain. God tried over and over and over and over again, but they broke it. And so God makes them jealous by a people who are not a people. By giving the covenant over to the Gentiles. And that Gentile covenant is ushered in by the Ishmaelites, who become a great nation and fill the whole earth and do what the Israelites were never able to do, and to control the promised lands promised to the children of Abraham that they never controlled.
I understand now, brother. You got a lot of knowledge. I know that I can tell that you've done a lot of research into the Bible and the Quran, and all the Hadith. I can tell that you have this knowledge, brother. But I cannot change the fact, my brother, that I saw Jesus at the top.
What if I told you I also saw Jesus?
Yes, but that's what he said to me, and he
told me to be a Muslim.
Muslim that Jesus is coming back, right?
I saw Jesus. He told me to be a Muslim.
Are you being honest, my brother?
Yes, I'm being honest.
You saw
Wait,
Jesus.
one sec. Yo, where's Tina? Is Tina here? Hold on. I know I have a friend that really saw
Yeah.
Jesus, like, really saw.
Well, I really saw Jesus. And,
Where's Tina at, guys? Somebody send a live to Tina. Spiritual Salafi Tina, come up. Tell us your story about seeing Jesus one more time. Let's see if
and my brother,
yeah.
you believe that Jesus is coming back, don't you?
Yes, I think Jesus is coming back.
Why do you believe that Jesus is coming back?
Because God says so.
So why isn't Muhammad, maybe peace be on him and his family, why isn't Muhammad coming back?
Why didn't Jesus split the Red Sea? Why didn't he receive the Torah on Sinai?
I believe that's why he came down in the end.
No,
That's
but
why he came down to reverse everything.
Why wasn't Jesus the one who received the Torah on Sinai? Why was it Moses? Why wasn't Jesus the one who mediated the covenant between God and his people? Why was it Moses? Is Moses greater than Jesus? Why was it?
But then when Jesus was on the mountain with the disciples that he decided to take up there with Elijah and Moses,
but
when they said they wanted to make a tabernacle of all three,
right,
they both disappeared.
Right, but that doesn't really answer the question. The point is, Jesus has a role, Muhammad alayhi salam has a role, Moses has a role, and it's just not the Prophet Muhammad's role to come back. Tina's here. Tina, one sec.
Sorry,
Tina, request up, please. I need you for something.
Excuse me.
I just saw her in the comments. Tina, if you could request, I lost you, man. If you could just please request up. That'd be. Oh, here we are. Okay. So this is Tina. Assalamu alaikum. You're off the screen, Tina. If you could come back.
Sorry. Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay, so Tina, can you tell us, just make it short, quick, concise, about the vision you have when you saw Jesus and what he told you?
Now, was this a dream? No, this was a vision. Yeah, was this a dream or?
Well, she'll tell you what it was. Go ahead, Tina.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a backstory, but the main part of the main dream is
A dream. Okay.
Jesus told me that he wasn't God, right? I accidentally implied that he was God in the dream during a time of confusion, and he told me he wasn't God. And then he walked away from me, and I was chasing him. Every time I would, try to reach him, he would turn the corner. I could never get to him. And then finally, when I did get to him, he was in a room with two tables, one on his right, one on his left, full of people. I tried to get there as quickly as I could, like sneak in. So I sat in the seat on his left side. And then he told me, he said, you can sit here and be amongst those who claim to be my followers, but actually follow Satan. Or you can sit here, and he pulls out a chair from his right side, and be one of my true followers who follow Islam.
Okay, my sister. And at this time, my sister, were you a Christian or a Muslim at this time when this happened?
Neither. I was studying religion, and I was heavily studying Christianity. I was a religion major.
Okay.
My thesis was on Jesus and Christianity.
So
Okay.
how do you explain that? Was that just Satan showing up in her dream, or? Oh,
My brother, you know what it is? She clearly said to us that it was a dream.
so what?
Now, my one wasn't a dream, my brother. My one was while I was alive and awake. Yeah? I wasn't under any substances. I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't any of that.
Yeah? Okay. So
now,
what?
I came out of my body, my brother, and I remember
but
like the whole journey.
I know it's fine.
Up.
So you had an experience one way, she had an experience a different way. So what, is Jesus like lying to her, or what's going on there?
No, I don't believe that that she's lying or anything like that. But
no, I'm saying, is Jesus lying to her? Like, who's showing up in her dream? What? How do you explain her experience?
I mean, I know you might be sitting here thinking, oh, is he going to say what I want him to say? Is he going to say that the devil disguised himself and might have?
No, I want you to say what you think. Like, you have this experience. I don't want to take away from your experience, okay? But she also has an experience, and we shouldn't take away from her experience. So how do you explain her experience?
Um, well, I mean, we all know that, you know, God speaks to people however he chooses to. We all know that. Yeah. We know that he gives messages however he chooses to. Yeah. Now, we know, I mean, my brother, I'll be honest with you, I can't explain to you with all my heart. I can't explain to you, but I can tell you, like, I know, you know, I know that this wasn't a dream. I know the love and everything
But
up there.
brother,
When I came back into my body,
I'm not saying it was a dream, bro. I'm saying that
yeah,
look, these so-called supernatural things or experiences happen to all kinds of people. They
yeah,
happen to atheists and Christians and Muslims and Buddhists. There's many studies done on people who are believed to be hallucinating. And these, I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying people who are believed by experts to be hallucinating, but they swear that they're not hallucinating. They really saw these things. They were awake, they were up, they saw this deceased person alive, and they talked to them. They saw this specific God, they saw this specific angel. The point is, all of these things can't be used to verify the truthfulness of a
yes,
religion because
yes, my
these
brother, yes.
things are not verifiable. So that doesn't trump the evidence I have that God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should change his mind, that God
My
does
brother,
not dwell on earth
okay,
or in human temples, that
yeah,
that we shouldn't eat God on Sunday and drink his blood. That is
yeah, my
certain for
brother.
me.
Just to
So
let
we
you know,
don't
my brother,
use, yeah,
my
go
brother,
ahead.
look, my foot has, like, my foot. I wasn't meant to walk for a very long time. Now, you know where God led me to when he told me and he showed me everything on the way up there. Yeah.
Mhm.
I went on to, when I got back, I said, you know what? I need to read the Bible. I never read the Bible before, my brother. Yeah. I
The
started reading
Bible,
the NIV and the KJV.
the Bible is a
Yeah.
Muslim book.
Okay, I mean that's your
Yeah,
opinion, that's your belief. I understand that. I respect that, my brother. My brother,
yeah.
but when I was reading the Bible on TikTok and everything like that, yeah, I remembered because I saw everyone arguing about the truth on the way up. I was allowed to hear all these voices, and then
Brother,
I went through a.
I don't know why you keep going back. Yes, I understand you had this experience. You know it was
Okay,
real, whatever.
I'll cut the long story
I'm
short just
saying,
here, my
but this
brother.
doesn't
Yeah,
justify you in being a mushrik, being a murtad, disbelieving in Allah
yeah.
subhanahu wa ta'ala, worshiping a man god and eating his blood on Sunday, or drinking his blood and eating his flesh. I don't. This doesn't justify anything. It doesn't explain the synoptic problem. It doesn't explain the weak transmission in the New Testament. It doesn't explain the countless contradictions. It doesn't explain the clear Christological and theological development. It doesn't explain the clear contradictions. It doesn't explain the early schism within the church. It doesn't explain Nicene Trinitarianism not being found in the first 300 years of Christianity. It doesn't explain how the New Testament has no continuity with the Old Testament. It doesn't explain
Mhm.
any of that. It doesn't explain how God requires a dying, rising man to atone for the world, contrary to what the Hebrew prophets thought. It doesn't explain any of that. You still have these issues to
But
deal
my
with.
brother, do you believe, honestly, as like a question from me to you, do you
Yeah.
believe that Allah, or your Allah, or do you believe that God can do anything that He wants to if He chooses to? Do you believe that? Do you believe that God has
Within,
limitations to what He can do?
yes, God has logical limitations.
Why would you say that God has limitations when God is your creator? He's the beginning and the end, the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega.
Is
He
God
can do it. He
is
can do
God
whatever He chooses to do.
is God limited to being one?
God can be anything He wants to
Is
be.
he is he limited to being one God, or can he be 30 million gods?
I don't believe there's no limitations to what God's
So then
ability
answer the
is.
so if you
It's
don't
all.
believe
It's more than us. It's bigger than us.
so if you don't believe there's no limit, then is he limited to being one God, or is he unlimited to being many gods?
Well, I mean, do you believe that Eve came down because of the tree?
Brother, this has nothing to do with that. I ask you, do you believe God is limited to being one, or can he be 30, for example?
God is bigger than us. That you can't even. If you
Brother,
could understand God's
I know God
ability
is bigger
as a
than I,
human being,
brother.
you cannot.
I know God is
My
big.
simple answer is you can't
Can
understand
God
God as a human.
let's
You
okay.
can't understand the greatness
So
of how great
if you
He
can't
really is.
so if you can't understand God, then why are you I don't want to believe in what you believe in. If you can't understand, you don't know God then.
What I'm saying is that he's bigger. I know God.
So then you
I
do
know who God is.
then you do understand God.
I do believe that God came down in the flesh. Yes.
All right. Okay. So if God came down in the flesh, then you know something about God. We don't know God. We don't know nothing about God. Therefore, he could become poop on the floor. Do you think God can become poop on the floor if he wanted to?
You wouldn't even match that to anything that you're explaining right now.
Okay,
That's just the biggest disrespect you could even say.
You
shouldn't even mention that, my brother. I've heard this a few times.
It's not disrespect. It's not disrespect at all. I'm showing you the absurdity of that assertion that you just made. Under that,
but for you to say that it's like the shaitan putting those words through your tongue.
No, it's not.
It's not words that you will ever mention, brother. Alongside your God.
Okay, let's try something less shaitan. Can your God get a Brazilian butt lift if he wanted to?
My brother, honestly, you don't compare God's name in these kind of examples. You don't ever bring God's name in these examples, my brother.
You think your God became a baby and went through a vagina with juices and liquids and was breastfeeding
my brother, what you're doing now, you know what you're doing now? My brother, what you're doing right now, when Moses took...
Just wait. You found it rude that I said, can your God get a butt lift? But you think God had a tube attaching him to a belly and came through a vagina. Did he come through a vagina, your God?
Was Mary a virgin?
Lord have mercy. Yes. So did he come through a vaginal passage?
You believe that Mary was a virgin?
Yes. Did he come through a vaginal passage, your God?
You know, I told you that God has no limitations to
what
he can do. Oh my
God, when I say, can God get a butt lift, it's rude. You shouldn't even say it. But God coming through a vagina is not rude, and we shouldn't question because he's unlimited. You see the problem here, brother? You're not being consistent. God coming through a small hole is worse than God getting a Brazilian butt lift, which you think both are possible. You think your God can get a BBL. If you think God has no limits, you think your God can get a BBL, then make me his God so I could throw him in hell for having a BBL. What do you think about that one? Can he do that?
My brother, I just think that whenever you use God's name, that you should never use it with examples like this.
Dude, you think God is a baby? What's the difference? You think God is a baby who suckled on a nipple in the 1st century and wore Crocs and sandals and had a robe on. So how's that different from having a BBL? I don't get it.
Do you believe, my brother, that God created us in his own image?
Yes, I believe that.
Okay. Does that not answer your question?
No, it doesn't. What question does that answer?
Do you believe that Moses, when Moses took everyone out of Egypt, do you believe that Moses showed them so many miracles, and on top of that they lost faith on top of that several times?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you see how us human beings are? No matter how many miracles we see, we lose faith quite quickly as human beings.
Okay. How does that justify your God being a little boy? So here, were you ever taller and stronger than your God at any point?
That's not even a question you should even compare to God.
Lord have mercy. You don't want to compare God, but at the same time, you want to compare him to a baby boy? What are we even doing right now? You don't want to compare God, but in the next breath, you're telling me I'm supposed to believe that God was a little boy. He was a little ghulam. He came out of a vagina. He suckled on a nipple in the 1st century. He needed breast milk. He wore a robe. He wore Crocs and sandals. God got lost. God's mom looked for him everywhere because she was worried for God. Mm-hmm. Like, really? Like that? You believe that? And then when I say, can God get a BBL? You it's rude and you should have
brother,
respect for God's
brother,
name.
I understand where you're coming from.
You're not making sense.
Do you believe that you're going to go to heaven?
Inshallah, if I die upon Islam. Yeah.
Okay, so you believe you're going to go to heaven, yeah? If you die upon Islam.
Inshallah, yeah.
Is this not all the ways that you came into the world and you're going to be in heaven one day, and you just admitted that you're going to be in heaven, inshallah, one day?
Sorry, what does that have to what? What
I
does that
said
have to do with what
all
I'm
the
talking
ways
about?
that you just explain on how you came into the world. Do you believe that you're going to be in heaven in the
Yeah,
end, in Jannat?
I'm a human. Yeah.
Yes, but do you believe that you're going to be in Jannat one day?
Yeah. Humans will be in Jannah.
Okay. Now, if you have come exactly that way here, and you truly believe as a Muslim that you are going to be in heaven in the end, then you're going to put limitations on the
Okay.
way God
Oh,
decides to
okay.
come and give his message to us.
Okay,
That's
cool.
what I'm saying to you.
Okay, cool. Can a girl with a BBL go to heaven?
If she finds God in her heart in the end, I believe I believe that God is most merciful. I believe that there is no
Okay.
limitations. Just like when, people that have been forgiven that were bad people, if God blesses on them forgiveness
Okay.
and they truly find
So-
God with their hearts, I believe anyone can go to heaven. Yes.
So in short, yes, she can. So then you don't think there's any problem with God getting a BBL because he's holy in heaven, and a girl with a BBL or a guy with a BBL got a BBL but now is in heaven. So there's no issue. Can God get a BBL?
I just believe that God came down in the form of man to give us the message, the most powerful message
all right,
to show.
So can God get a BBL in the form of a man?
My brother, you can't. I mean, if you have any respect for God, you cannot put these. You can't compare these things that you're comparing.
Okay, I got you. So where do you draw the line at what is respectful, what is disrespectful? Where can we draw the line? Help me find
My
it.
brother, what you do is if you believe in God truly with your heart, you pray that others see the light. That's all you can do.
Okay, brother.
As a believer of God, as a righteous follower of God, as an example of all the prophets, you pray that God shows them the beauty and the joy and the glory of the light that you see. That's it.
Brother, listen to me. Brother, listen to me. Where do you draw the line at what is respectful, what is disrespectful? Please tell me.
By never comparing God's name with silly things.
Okay, so where do you draw the line at what is silly and what is not silly?
You don't compare God's name with, downgrading things or things where that just by the slip of your tongue on comparing him to something that's earthly.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Comparing to something that's earthly. All right. Did God become a man?
Yes.
Wow. So that's earthly, right?
I mean, of earthly creations, as in like words that degrade people. You wouldn't even say that to a human being, like to put someone down. Why would you talk about the almighty creator?
Okay.
Like that.
Was God short or tall?
God's the greatest. There is no short or tall.
So
there's no beginning and end.
So Jesus, as a first century Jew, would have been around 5'2". That's the average. Was Jesus 5'2", around there? God?
He came in the form of man.
Right. So God coming in the form of man.
Because we are in the form of
Lord.
man.
Okay. So God coming in the form of man was 5'2", right? Around there?
I don't know that answer.
So could he possibly have been 5'2", 5'1", 5'3"?
Do you believe in all the miracles Jesus did?
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. والله لمريد. أقسم بدين الله لمريد. شهادة من دين ربي لمريد. Brother, what does this have to do with him? Listen to me.
My brother, is
it possible? Is it possible that your God was maybe 5'2"?
I wouldn't go on. I mean, God is, if he comes in the flesh, I mean, we don't have the brain capacity to know what God is. He's greater than that.
Okay, could he have been bigger than that? So could he have been 5'2"?
He has no limitations onto what he can be.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Ya Rajul, what are we doing here, bro? You said God came as a man. You said God came as a man. And if he came as a man, then he was possibly 5'2", right?
Yeah. My brother, I made a promise to God that I would tell everyone my testimony, and that's what I'm fulfilling as a promise. I can understand, and I totally respect you as a Muslim, that, you only know what you believe in your heart. And you know what? Jesus told me that it's your heart that gets you there.
Bah.
So you're following. I'm not saying what you believe is wrong, my brother, but all I'm saying to you is, all I'm doing here is what I promised to do, is to fulfill my promise.
Mia.
Like whether you take that, whether you listen to that with your heart or not, or whether there's hearts on this platform that listen to that or they don't, I'm just telling you my personal experience that I had, but it's only my personal experience. I don't want anyone to listen to this
thank you,
that
brother.
don't want to listen to this. I'm just telling you, my brother.
Thank
God
you.
bless you, my brother.
Bye.
And I pray what Jesus revealed to me reveals to you as well. I pray.
Bye. Mia.
Take care, my brother. God bless you.
امشي روح يا رجل، امشي روح نفخت لي راسي يا رجل، حق ربي لنفختهم يا رجل. امشي روح يا مريض يا رجل، والله أنا مريض يا رجل، مرض تي مريض، هذا مريض، مش عارف شن جايله في راسه.